walking side by side with death, the devil mocks their every step. The snow drives back, the foot that's slow, the dogs of doom are howling more. They ask no quarter. Hello. Are we recording? We're recording. I see the bars. Alright, so thanks for tuning in again. Check it out. These are my fish. No 25 Andrew, No Quarter podcast. I want to talk about how overwhelmed and how overexerted and how overly done and overused and overrun we are in our daily life. Everything is just overdone and over posted and over pixelated and over digitized. Everything is put in, and then you have to dissect it all in one day and then fall asleep and then try to forget most of it and keep the good parts and then go through it again the whole next day. And then this doesn't end. You're just constantly being Twitterized and Facebook posted-ized and texted to death with phone calls and beeps and boops and ringers and tones and vibrations. And is there no end? When will this end? Oh, I just got a text. Okay, so I woke up and I checked Twitter. I checked Facebook. Well, I didn't check Facebook. I don't have a Facebook, but I checked Twitter and I commented on tweets, and my tweeters were commented on, and I listened to a podcast, and I watched the news, and I talked to people, and they were talking about what was on the news. And so all this information and interactiveness and stimulation is when does it end? Will it end? It's like I'm imagining I'm in a quiet meadow in the forest, and it's sunny out, and the sun's beaming down, and there's a couple clouds in the sky, and there's moths and butterflies in the meadow, and there's a nice little path through the meadow, and it's quiet, and then, oh look, there's a deer. Okay? That was just a deer and the sun. Now it's a deer, the sun, a deer crossing the road during the day while you're on your phone, talking to your buddy, listening to a podcast, sending a text, and the deer jumps in front of your car that you're driving with your body, and the deer gets in front of you and it kills you. So I guess at that point, it becomes too much stimulation because you were overstimulated and you couldn't react to the deer. Back when you were in the meadow, the deer was your only stimulation. So when you're in your car, I'm getting confused. I'm getting excited. When you're in your car, you're driving, you're sitting, you're staring, you're putting on turn signals, you're turning on headlights, you're using a windshield wiper, adjusting your mirrors, adjusting your seat, making sure your seatbelt's on. That's one of the most important ones. Seatbelt's on, your car starts. You're making sure all this happens. And you're checking your Facebook, and you're checking your Twitters, and you're getting phone calls, and your phone's vibrating in between your legs while you're driving, and your hot coffee is right next to you, about to spill in your shitty cup holder, because your cup holder was made in 1999, and the cup that your Starbucks coffee is in is a 2015 cup of Starbucks, and it's fucking huge, and it doesn't fit in your cup holder, because everything seems to have gotten bigger, so it's about to fall on your lap, in your phone, while it's buzzing, in your lap, where your genitals are, while you're driving this car 50 miles an hour down this road, and a deer just trying to frickin' find a stream of water to drink, and he crosses your path, and because you were drinking coffee and using your phone and driving a car, you killed it, and it killed you. So when does being stimulated or overstimulation, when does it hit that point where it kills you? That was an example, or an extreme example, of a car accident killing you. But cars are stimulation. I would argue that cars are very stimulating to some people. Have you ever heard of a gearhead, or what are they called? A grease monkey? I'd say cars are very stimulating. Cars are stimulating. I'd say computers are stimulating. I've seen documentary where people have literally addicted to their computer. They were young people, um, preteens, young teenagers, and they were addicted to the internet, where they would neglect their body and health. And there were cases where people died sitting in front of the computer because they just neglected themselves. They didn't go to the They didn't go to the bathroom. They didn't eat. They didn't drink. So because they were overstimulated, they were so overly stimulated that they either decided or didn't even notice that they were deteriorating. Do we like the frog and the proverbial frog in the frying pan? I do not recommend putting a frog in a frying pan, but if you put a frog in a frying pan with water in the frying pan and the frog is in the frying pan and the water's room temperature and you turn on the frying pan and you slowly raise it, slowly bring it to a boil. Don't just turn it on into a boil. Just slowly bring it to a boil. The frog won't realize that the water is getting warmer and warmer and warmer and warmer and warmer, and then it's boiling, and the frog's still in there, and then it's dead. So I guess I don't know how that, I lost my train, I forgot how that correlates, but I guess that's you're stimulating it just enough. Like you're gonna have this phone, cool, you can have a phone. Okay, you're gonna have this car, cool, you can have a car. Okay, if you're gonna have a car, don't forget it's got a cup holder, you can have some coffee. Okay, now you can have some coffee. Why don't you go through the drive-thru and eat a Big Mac, macaroni and cheese, and a Big Mac, McDonald's Big Mac, and you're slowly raising the temperature. Are we raising the temperature with all these stimulations? And is there going to be a tipping point or boiling point? Like the proverbial frog? Will there be a point where the temperature reached its max, the stimulation reached its max, that we can no longer chew bubble gum, walk, listen to our radio, text, shoot laser pointers out of our eyeballs all at the same time? We can no longer, we're doing everything we possibly can. Maximum, what's it called? Not maximum occupancy, maximum overdrive, maximum capacity. This is the capacity, maximum capacity. This is the capacity that we can do, the most things we could do at that moment. And if we do that one more thing, like a juggler, and he's juggling, I can only juggle 7. If you ever see me in here with 8, bag it up. That's a Mitch Hedberg joke. But if you throw that eighth pair into his juggling of pairs, it falls apart because you can only do 7. Will an 8th pair get thrown into our juggling act of stimulation? Like I said, in a day I woke up, I checked Twitter, I was talking to people on Twitter back and forth, made new tweets, made new followers, followed new people. I won a contest online. People are going to send me an autographed picture of themselves. Just some stupid aquarium guy. And then I found out also today, one of my favorite aquarium guys is going to send me a picture of one of the most influential aquarium aquascape teachers, Takashi Amano, died today. So I contacted one of my idols. One of my idols died today. I found out tons of information. And then I listened to tons of podcasts where they were talking about dozens and dozens and dozens of different perspectives and different philosophical perspectives for you to mull over. And when is this food for thought, this stimulation for thought, reach a tipping point? When will our like brains explode with information? If you look at the internet and then the internet gets downloaded into your brain, wouldn't your brain explode? Your brain would explode. Does your brain have like a not explode point where it will just take in information and not explode? Like I have theories where you can only learn so much, and as soon as you learn something new, you forget something old. Everyone, I think, has heard that theory. Garbage in, garbage out kind of thing. Your brain can only hold certain capacity. Ah, shoot, where was I going with this? But like we only use 10% of our brains. You've heard that saying. And then we come to a day where we all of a sudden use 11, come to a day we use 12, and then one day we're going to use 100%. If we only use 10% now, what happens when we use 101%? Are we overstimulated to death? I feel like I'm overstimulated to death. Fuck Facebook. Twitter sucks. YouTube blows. Yeah, but it's all stimulation, and it's gorgeous, and it's beautiful, and it's pretty, it's colorful, and it's funny, and it's sad, and it's us, I guess, right? I've heard one of the best explanations of the internet is, best thing about the internet is everyone has a voice. The worst thing about the internet is everyone has a voice, and that the internet is just a reflection of our own humanity. And it's not that the internet is evil, it's that we are inherently evil, and that we can just see our manifestations of evil a lot more easily on the internet. Because a lot of us are visual learners, visual people. Seeing is believing. So when we see all these ugly YouTube comments, we'll be, oh, we're all just ugly YouTube commenters. That's all we are. Well, I don't know, that's my overly negative stimulation rant about negative YouTube commenters commenting us to death with their stimulations. And I don't know, I just felt today in particular that I just had to digest a ton of different philosophical ideas, from Buddhism to Scientology to child molestation, pedophilia, to just kind of the range of articles and information that are just on your everyday, daily Twitter feed or news feed, where you go from, oh my God, Hillary Clinton's running for president, to Bill Cosby is raping people. Like, that's a huge swing. Like, I can't believe I said that in one sentence, but that happened in one day. So, one day it's going to be, we landed on Mars, dogs can talk, I can breathe underwater, and the Earth's going to blow up in 48 hours. I'm waiting for that Twitter feed and that news article, because then we're going to be stimulated literally to death. And that's what I'm worried about, is the overstimulation to death. Alright, thanks for listening. No Quarter Podcast. Out. Oh, and follow me on Twitter. This is a podcast of hope. Close the door, put out the light. You know they won't be home tonight. You chose the path no one goes. We hold no quarter.